Harry Potter is better than Star Wars.
Why you pouring me? I'm right.
A hot take indeed. But as I take you along my scientific journey, I hope to prove to you that the Harry Potter franchise does indeed poop all over Star Wars.
Now this is pod racing.
Join me.
What does thy bidding, my master?
It's a disaster. Skywalker, we're after.
Both franchises have main stories and side quests that have drifting amounts of effect on the main plot. And ultimately, none of them are amazing, so it kind of evens out as a wash.
And the cinematography, too. I really like the look of this movie.
Oh, yeah. Everything about it is great except for the creativity of the screenplay, which is severely lacking.
So for this video, I'll be ignoring these side movies. You see, if Star Wars is your favorite franchise, then you may have grown up on episodes 4, 5, and 6. And those are good movies, but there are only 3 out of a 3-movie franchise. After the latest film, there are now 3 out of 9. Big difference. So I first want to compare Star Wars' 9 films against Harry Potter's 8. The first thing to notice is that Harry Potter has 8 good, if not life-changing, but at least good movies out of 8 from the franchise.
Did I know I just met the most dangerous dark wizard of all time? No.
And Star Wars really has 2.5 good movies out of 9. Which one's the half? Leaving Harry Potter with 100% good films and Star Wars with only 27%. So it's kind of a miracle that so much mileage has been gained out of only 3 movies. And not only that, but if you compare the Harry Potter movies across the board to their Star Wars counterparts, and then remove Episode 9 because nobody likes Episode 9, then I believe that each Harry Potter movie is better than its Star Wars counterpart except for Episodes 4 and 5. Seriously, the teddy bears suck. And this isn't to say that the Harry Potter movies are all masterpieces. It's just that I'd much more quickly rewatch the Deathly Hallows Part 2 over The Last Jedi.
Wingardium Leviosa. You're a wizard.
Now today we will be transforming animals.
One of the ideas floating around in the Star Wars community is that George Lucas used to be an auteur, but he lost his edge by the time he did the prequels. But I would argue that he's always been a hack, as seen by almost every documentary of when he worked on the original movies.
George, coming out of low-budget filmmaking, was used to doing a lot of things himself. So George would say things like, well, put a light here, and Gil took offense at that kind of thing. He says, that's not your job, son.
Heck, even the documentaries of when he worked on the prequels.
I want to get just the tail end of Obi-Wan sitting down.
You're resyncing both flanking actors.
Yeah.
Okay. This is cyber directing, right?
Yeah. 3D editing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe you got what you wanted there. You got the George, I'm directing here in the editing room sequence, which is what he loves to do, which is change the actors' performances, you know.
I think he was a hack who got lucky to rub elbows with some genuinely talented people.
The winners are Paul Hirsch, Marshall Lucas, and Richard Chew for Star Wars.
Who could keep him in line and rein him in for the first movie, and the second. But by the third, we got Ewoks.
Why would a Wookiee, an 8-foot-tall Wookiee, want to live on Endor with a bunch of 2-foot-tall Ewoks? That does not make sense.
Are you trying to tell me that the 501st who consolidated power for the Empire and took over the entire galaxy with plasma and blood got their pushed in by a bunch of teddy bears?
Oh, here's where the Empire acts smartly as well.
Let's open this hatch.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Right.
This is like Spaceballs or something. Like,
Yeah.
it's so goofy.
And why did we even have teddy bears on the Forest planet anyway? We already had an established warrior race of Wookiees on the planet of Kashyyyk. Why didn't that battle just take place there? Toys. George Lucas wanted to sell plush toys more than he wanted to make a good film. Not a starkly different George Lucas than the one who said this about Jar Jar Binks.
Jar Jar is a key to all this. If we get Jar Jar working, because he's a funnier character than we've ever had in any of the movies before.
You see, by episode 6, he wasn't just some director. He was George Lucas, creator of the greatest space opera known to man. And who was going to give him critiques? He didn't get worse, he just got more freedom to make the actually crappy movies he was trying to make the whole time.
On episode 1, we basically had more freedom than George ever had on the original Star Wars film.
Also evidenced by him Lucasing the old movies to make them worse.
Yes, I bet you have.
So now to be fair, we see a lot of the same things with J.K. Rowling. As J.K.'s fame grew, so did her book lengths. By the 4th installment, what editor was going to tell her how to make a readable book? The biggest difference is that although longer, the books didn't necessarily get appreciably worse. Unfortunately, even though Older Age hasn't done much for her Twitter account,
listen, it would be fine if the characters were like this originally, but it seems like you're changing them after the fact so you could seem more inclusive and get good press.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'll stop.
the movies just panned out better than the newer Star Wars movies.
Oh no, we're sinking!
Yeah, If only one of us could lift heavy objects with their mind!
Even though she is trying to George Lucas her movies via her tweets.
Harry Potter had Down syndrome.
What? What does that even mean?
So I don't want to give too many points for just being lucky. But still, we can always go back and watch the first movie without Hermione being edited to be in blackface. But Star Wars is more than just movies. It's a huge extended universe of books. Oh yeah. Harry Potter books generally poop on Star Wars books as far as sales go, and they are almost single-handedly responsible for getting millennials back into reading long-form novels. As of February 2018, the books have sold more than 500 million copies worldwide, making them the best-selling book series in history. The last 4 books consecutively set records for the fastest-selling book in history, with the final installment selling 11 million copies in the United States in just 24 hours. Can't say the same for Labyrinth of Evil.
Wingardium Leviosa. You're a wizard.
Now, today, we will be transforming animals.
Now, Star Wars and Harry Potter both have amazing music, and if the quality of the music was the only thing I was comparing, then I would just chalk the whole thing up as a draw. But as it stands, turns out John Williams ripped off a large portion of the Star Wars theme.
Interesting!
So already the slaughtering string with the tense build up. Just changed a few notes.
Another win for Harry Potter.
It's a disaster. Skywalker, what after?
I'm not sure I've ever played a good Harry Potter game save Lego Harry Potter, but Star Wars is sick with them. Games like Knights of the Old Republic and The Force Unleashed are probably the main reason I am a Star Wars fan. You see, the movies built a strong foundation for a very interesting world that, in my opinion, has only been truly fleshed out in a mature and interesting way in most of the game series. If Jedi Fallen Order comes out tomorrow as a movie, it would probably instantly be my favorite Star Wars movie. Fight me. Someone has got to give the writing teams who have been working on these video games a chance to do something in the movies, because it's embarrassing how much better most of the video games are at evoking emotion. But ultimately, this video isn't called Harry Potter video games are better than Star Wars video games.
Imagine if you just saw that in real life. Not the human version of that,
just
but
start
that.
throwing up and falling.
I think I'd scream and run.
Wingardium Leviosa. You're a wizard.
Now, today, we will be transforming animals.
Harry Potter has a more original score. J.K. Rowling hasn't put nearly as much effort into trying to destroy Harry Potter as George has into Star Wars. Harry Potter is basically the gold standard for fiction novels. And again, I think pretty arguably, pound for pound, more quality films. Yeah, none of them are The Empire Strikes Back, but that's one movie compared to an 8-series franchise while having 9 of your own, where most of them are just really not that great. So with all of the results added together, I think that the scientific community can accept the fact that Harry Potter is indeed better than Star Wars. Thanks for watching. Till next time.
So I know what you're thinking. God, won't someone talk about Season 8 of Game of Thrones? Well, if you insist. After all, I ain't no fucking kneeler. So we all know Season 8 was a travesty, so I don't want to just review it, but run it through some script doctoring. And I shall do this basically character by character, since the characters are what I think they messed up the most. But first let me complain for